All right, welcome to episode one of the StatPad Podcast, where we go behind the box score. My name's Caleb Hickman, joined by my co-host Milo Horton. Milo, how are we feeling today?
Feeling absolutely ecstatic, excited, ready to talk ball and more.
So I think this is something that we both wanted to do for a while. We would call and just talk NBA for hours throughout our weeks, and it's both something that we had wanted to talk about or do content about on a higher level. So it finally felt like the right time, I think, for both of us.
Yeah, it just felt right. I even during those calls, we would say, "Bro, we should start a podcast." We've been saying it for a while now, but now that we're both, settled in college, bro's a communications major. He's working to be an analyst. So why not start now? Build something.
It's something that, yeah, we both just had on our minds for a while. And so we're here giving it a go. Episode one right here. Um, it's going to be a big learning process. We're going to build through it with each other and just see how far it can take us. So one thing that we can promise, I think, is consistency and some just fresh perspective. I feel like we both see the game with a kind of unbiased eye. Obviously, there's a little bit there because we are such huge fans of our team, but I
Knicks in
think
five, Knicks in
I
five.
think we do a good job of looking at the game and really like being able to see the league from a lot of different viewpoints.
Yeah, I think that, we both started getting into the NBA around, when the Warriors and Cavs were kind of like in their little rivalry. So I think that we have a new perspective. We started learning and uh really like becoming disciples of the game almost. Like we just love we both didn't play ball much in school, but we loved watching it. We both have a big love for it. So I think we have a different eye in the fact that, we are kind of stat merchants. We're both all like we love just the eye behind the game, not actually like we love watching the game, but the eye behind the game and the different aspects that some people not even cover.
But that's one of the reasons we chose to name the StatPad podcast. Modern day, people are stat padding, people are box score watchers, and that's not what we want to do here. We want to be able to watch those games and combine it with those stats to tell what is actually going on the court from our perspective.
Yeah, and there's a lot of, numbers tell a lot of stories. There's a lot of things in such in like a numbers advancing game. There's so many things that the game has developed through the years. I mean, the percentages, the box scores, the metrics that you can really dive into that honestly show why teams have success, teams have downfalls, why things are having holes in it, and it's fun to go through. So that's why we're really getting into this. It's gonna be a fun time.
So first things first, we are on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at the StatPad Podcast. The StatPad Podcast is where you're going to find us on everything. We're hoping to do a lot of stuff over daily, weekly out on there, cutting up clips from these podcast episodes, doing games, everything in between there. So be sure to show love over there. But let's get into some basketball. Obviously, that's
Yeah,
what we're here to talk about. So
100%.
start out with some recent news. We'll kick it off with the 16 team trade that went down yesterday. Couple swaps of no one really like major, but it's some moves for these teams that I think could really help shape up the roster. The biggest notes for me from there, Middleton back to Washington where he was a couple seasons ago, D'Angelo Russell to Memphis, um, and we've got Caris LeVert, the Pistons get off his contract, send him to the Bucks, and we've got Gary Harris, Taurean Prince to the Pistons for that trade. And one of the first things that stood out to me from it is obviously Middleton back to the Wizards, but I saw a tweet. It was D'Angelo Russell. Someone tweeted about him going to Memphis. He commented on that post and said, "No matter where you send me, I'm still dangerous." So Do we think that D'Lo is gonna be dangerous and turn things around?
I mean, dangerous, like maybe dangerous on the stat sheet, honestly. I mean, we saw him in these other teams, the last time we saw him being dangerous was on the Nets. I mean, on the Lakers, piss poor. He was disgustingly horrible. He just is it's such an the way he plays is such just like a solo ball kind of player. And I just don't he's never been the best role player because he is just a shot chucker, in my opinion. I think that, and great handles, great shot, but like bro cares about golf more than anything else right now. I truly don't believe that.
He's just
We're,
not locked in as a basketball player anymore, it seems like. And, I just really don't think there's any way forward for him. I got to a way forward of success. Sure, he could still be a fine vet and player in this league, but I got to watch the Nuggets play him and him just have disastrous games in the playoffs when the Lakers needed one more player to give them something, and he would not give it to him. So I don't know. I mean, I think it's good that he's got some confidence, but it'll be interesting to see what he gets into.
I just don't like last season he averaged 10.2 points per game and had 4 assists. Like that's just not a player that is dangerous in this league. Like any Mo Schmo or Joe could average 10 points in the league nowadays, especially with the offensive inflation. Uh like the last time I'm looking at his stats right now, the last time that he averaged anything was in LA. He averaged 18 points a game.
Mm,
And then since then, he's dropped down
just been
to
a
12,
drop off.
12, 12, then now to 10. I just don't think that, especially when he was on the Mavs, that's kind of like a team that he was able to step into and kind of have his free roam because there wasn't much going on over there. Where now he's going to be more of a role player. I just don't see him producing anywhere the same numbers I used to. So I don't see no dangerous aspect of this game.
And we'll get to the Grizzlies later for sure, going over our power rankings later in the episode. But the two big points from the trade, D'Lo's not even the big point from the trade in my opinion. I just thought that tweet stood out to me, and it
Yeah.
was cool to see him at least showing like giving his opinion on it. But first thing, Middleton back to Washington. I think it's a great vet that has won a championship who sure he did not enjoy his first stint in Washington, but now he's going there with a revamped roster, just drafted DeBonsa, Anthony Davis, Trae Young. They've got a lot of young talent over there, so I think it's a really good pickup for them.
Yeah, me and you were discussing like how the Wizards just have so much upside. I mean, they came from nothing and now they have just like a light at the end of the tunnel that they have upside. They can build off of this roster, especially with this new young player, this new young talent, Debonsa. And you've put other veterans and other role players that can really elevate his game to another level that he can learn from. And it still gives him room to work. Like it still gives him room to really claim the team as his own because like AD's on the end of his stint. Trae Young is heading in that direction. Chris Milton, he's retiring soon,
Yeah,
surely.
he's nearing
But
the end for sure.
it's just like a great team that just like you want to see do well because the Wizards have been so bad for so long.
There's literally no history with that team. I was thinking about it on draft night when DeBonsa went there. I was like, how much is it even going to take for someone to be the greatest player in Wizards history? It's really not going to take a lot. It's going to take like 1 to 2 playoff runs, not even playoff success.
Yeah, I
So
was
I think it's a really clear-cut path for DeBonsa, and for him to have a guy like Chris Middleton to even just work with in any capacity is really big for his career.
like, what is their like Mount Rushmore? Like
Michael Jordan, Gilbert Arenas.
Elvin Hayes, Gilbert Arenas, and who else? Uh,
Wizards fans might put John
Wes
Wall on
Unseld.
there. Like,
Wes Unseld's your best player, bro.
yeah. So
Ooh,
definitely be interesting to see what they get into this
Larry
year.
Nance just went to the Indiana Pacers.
Some breaking news that fits right into the segment we're in right now. Let's look at that, see some details on that.
Shams just reported free agent Larry Nance Jr. has agreed to a 1 year, $4 million deal with the Indiana Pacers.
Interesting. So the Pacers get better. We'll definitely go over them later in the episode as well. Um, Not a huge pickup, I would say, but he still does give some really good minutes. Um, and he gives them a little more size and some more depth. So I do
Yeah,
like that.
I
One
think
year
that.
deal.
Yeah, I think that like for that cheap in 1 year, like you just it's just a player that like adds sides, adds depth. He's always been a solid role player, like
There's no
solid player
point in
off the
not getting a
bench.
player like that.
Like he has like he's great on defense. He can dunk the heck out of the ball. So like it's not a bad pickup by any means.
And then to close out that six-team trade, there was a lot of other stuff that had already been agreed upon beforehand that just got involved in the trade, like John Collins on the move. But the last big point that we learned yesterday from it is the Pistons are getting off Caris LeVert's contract. He's going to Milwaukee for their rebuild, and the Pistons are getting Gary Harris and Taurean Prince, two very baby contracts. So what I'm seeing from that is Pistons shed Caris LeVert's contract and that has some most likely effect on the Jalen Duren situation.
Yeah, Jalen Duren, me and you have talked about this. He's been demanding a lot of money, which it just gives you mixed feelings if I'm a Pistons fan. Like you're demanding this money, you're going to take up our cap space, but you averaged 10 points a game in the playoffs when we
It's
needed
the
you
most
most.
interesting, one of the most interesting all-stars in the league. The hype around him is so large compared to when you look at the stats.
Yeah, I was saying he averaged 19 points a game when he was during the regular season, which they performed great during the regular season. They were the team to be #1 seed in the East. Definitely proved themselves as a title contender, but then once they got to the playoffs, their superstar just absolutely fell.
You
So
you can't have that. You can't have that unless he can really elevate himself for the amount of money that he wants to be paid. That's not a number two guy that can go alongside Cade that is going to make you a contender.
yeah,
And
I
that's just kind of how I feel about him. So next up on our news, some just little contracts, and then some other moves. Kevon Looney, 1 year deal with the Lakers. Lakers still kind of in the spotlight even without LeBron because they've got Luka. They signed Kevon Looney to back up Walker Kessler and Rui Hachimura, longtime Laker there for the LeBron years, is off to the other team in LA, the Clippers. So any thoughts on what the Lakers are building? I know we talked about it a little bit. They've got Luka, which is kind of all you need, but
Rui going to the Clippers, I think it's just another he's still young, he's still got some years in him.
he
He
has
was
had some really good quality games for them.
Exactly. He's had some great quality games, and I think on the Clippers, he's able to take a bigger role, and a bigger spot in that team. And I think it'll be interesting to see how he develops, to see if he's like a Denny Advia, if he's somebody like a Jalen Johnson that really improves
Yeah, if he
with
can become a
this.
big piece to what they're
Yeah,
doing over
because he has
there.
shown improvement in his shooting and his IQ, just like how he really runs the game and sees the game. Uh, with the Lakers, I think that no, the snow time Lakers, I really don't. Luca's always gonna be Luca. He's always gonna be that pure scorer. He's always gonna be that guy. Now the players he's that the Lakers are choosing to surround himself with
Like we were
is
talking about Kessler earlier, like they
yeah,
finally get their center, but
I just don't think it's the best fit for him. I think that, he went to the NBA finals with a team who is extremely athletic. I think that with his vision and his passing, he's able to find these athletic guys cutting behind the basket to the rim, and he's able to hit these guys wide on the three. Like he he's not able to do that with these guys. I truly don't think that I think Walker Kessler is just not that kind of player that matches his play style. I don't think that that kind of traditional big is what they want in that program. But by no means is Walker Kessler a bad big. He's an outstanding big. He's
Hmm.
really good. He's what they need on defense because they're
Super
such a
young.
super young. He's definitely a great player. I just don't see how this archetype really fits with Luca. But I mean, it truly could. They finally got their big, and I think that's
Yeah.
so huge for somebody like Luca.
It's definitely going to be something to keep an eye on. Well, I'm just excited to see how the press and stuff looks without LeBron on that team and the mass exodus of Lakers fans. So it's kind of like a complete reset for that franchise, I feel with. But we knew it
Yeah,
was coming when they traded for Luca.
yeah. I had a friend. He's one of my Knicks friends, and he's a massive LeBron fan. And you saying the mass exodus. Let me quote you what he said. He texted me, and he said, "I would rather have LeBron than a chip." Not gonna lie.
Yeah,
And I just think that's so funny. The LeBron Glazers everywhere. I think that the Lakers should be so happy about this. They are freeing up so much cap space, and they are freeing up just the court in general. Because LeBron, no matter what team he's going to be on, he's going to be that leader and stuff like that. And it prevents somebody like their superstar Luka Doncic to run that team. And Luka has proven when he runs that team, he makes it to the finals. He makes it to the Western Conference Finals. And I just think that this is such a win for Lakers to get LeBron out. Like it's just been the LeBron years, and it is kind of been it's been fun and all that, but
ever
it's
since the
just been this
bubble.
daunting shadow over them.
Yep, yep. You've got a lot on your hands when you have LeBron on your team. And speaking of LeBron, latest news from him yesterday. He's down to his top three possible destinations, and it's down to the Sixers, the Heat, and the Cavs. So two of his previous teams, and then the Sixers, who, if they got their hands on him, would be building somewhat of a super team in the East.
Yeah, I just it's annoying because he's guaranteed coming out east. I do think that whatever team he joins out of those three, I think the best fit for him would be the Cavs.
That's
I
what
tr
I've been saying since he left. I was like, I feel like the Cavs would be the perfect fit for him to slot right into a team that just made the ECF and be able to maybe take him a little higher.
I just think that the Cavs team has just been missing. I've been saying this for ages. I've been saying this. The Cavs team on paper is one of, if not the best team in the East. They have such outstanding just either depth, they have such outstanding like style of play, but it's just not
It's
clicking.
just
And
not there in the end.
I
Yep.
truly believe that LeBron could add that to their team and the fact that, it frees up Donovan Mitchell, it frees up somebody like Evan Mobley. These
James
guys don't
Harden
James
maybe
Hart,
could finally get something going in the playoffs
who
beside
knows?
LeBron.
But I mean after that massive deal from Donovan Mitchell, what was it, like 68 million a year,
That's on the notes as well that we would
which
cover
is
next. Max
disgusting.
extension. He's locked in till 2031. An unreal amount of money. They're all in on him to be their guy.
And if you also bring in LeBron, depending what that contract looks
LeBron
like,
is not taking a I know people are saying he's willing to sign for the minimum. LeBron is
it's
not
not,
signing for
bro.
the
He
minimum.
he's getting his bag, bro. Come on. He. I just don't see they're going to be, if not above the second apron or right below it. They are going. It's the East is open. It is open right now, and all these teams are
Just
desperately trading,
scrambling
desperately
to be a
scrambling to
competitor.
form a team to compete because the Giants are out west in the Spurs and OKC. The Knicks, they are a giant. But there's a lot of competitive aspects because the teams second seed through 10th seed are all so close, and it's such uh a difference maker if you have somebody like these small players that they're signing to elevate them to get them a better chance of making that finals.
Yeah, there's a lot of top players back in the East, which is good. But you keep leading me into my points going off the Knicks, NBA champions. Jalen Brunson left wrist surgery this offseason before next season. It's something that I think is a great choice. It's something Nikola Jokic has been needing for the past 4 years as he continues to refuse to get surgery on his wrist and then is wearing a sleeve and a brace all throughout the season. But as a Knicks fan, how do you feel about that? I feel like he'll be ready to go when the season starts.
It's just greatness. That's all I can say.
Um,
He dropped 45 on the best team in the NBA with a broken hand. Like, come on. Like, Jalen Brunson is proven to be that guy, that 1A dude. Uh, I just don't. I truly like. I look at this team and people were saying, "Oh, well, you should make a couple more trades. Maybe go like Giannis was a big factor." A lot of people said that if we don't win a chip, we're going for Giannis. I
You were
tr
one of them.
I was one of them because I was so tired of Carl Anthony Towns fouling out, and I just I believe that they have the right players and it's worked. They have that star, multiple stars,
And it
and
was
I
just masterful basketball
yeah,
throughout the whole playoff. It all came together.
they 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 were playing they were comparing or putting up stats that were 2016, 2017 Warriors-esque, the greatest team that some people say ever was assembled. And none of these players on those calibers of Klay Thompson, Stephen Curry, and Kevin Durant. It just shows that Leon Rose has found the perfect team. He has found a team that is chemistry wise better than any other team in the NBA. And he found what's worked, and it's really gotten the whole East to scramble to get that team as well because the Knicks have figured it out. They figured out that system. They have figured out that play style where you don't need superstars or like extreme superstars to win an NBA championship.
So one more note on Brunson. It's a debate I've been seeing a lot around lately that I need to get your opinion on is Brunson versus Kyrie all time. I feel like there's a very clear winner in my mind of this, but I want to hear your opinion.
I mean, all time, I'm going
I,
Jalen
I
Brunson.
think it's Brunson. I
I
think
think
it's
it's
Brun. I
Brunson.
think it's
I truly,
clearly Brunson.
I just don't. Kyrie had
I
LeBron
think
with him.
Brunson's ring means more than Kyrie's entire
I
career.
mean, yeah, I mean, Kyrie has he's the best ball handler we've ever seen. Yeah, he's an outstanding player, but
Yes, he
like
hit the shot in game 7.
yeah, he hit the shot, and I just I don't see how it compares to Brunson. Brunson solely took this team and elevated it to be a championship team.
They traded for this man. They said they needed him to be his savior, their savior. He said, I'm no savior, and then has turned the franchise into the top team in the NBA right now.
He's my savior. He's my daddy, Daddy Brunson, Brunson Burner. I am so confident. Jalen Brunson is just he the way he is able to put down the basketball and just score at an insurmountable amount. It's just incredible. It's incredible to watch. Especially with somebody of his size, he has taken so many different aspects of his game and frying some of the best defenders in the league, and they have teams just have zero answer for it.
He is light. He is life for the Knicks fan. So, one final note from our recent news: DeMar DeRozan, a free agent. The Kings in a very rebuilding state. They get a guy, Darius Acuff. It'll be interesting. Levine opts to come back this next season. Sabonis Sabonis has really hit a wall, it seems like. But now another top guy who is aging out but can still give you a lot of really high scoring performances. DeMar DeRozan is a free agent and on the market.
Yeah, the Kings are just, if I was a Kings fan, I would stop watching basketball and I would pick a new sport.
It's just been brutal, man. To make
I
the playoffs one time when they had Mike Brown and De'Aaron Fox and have such a strong start against the Warriors and then lose that series and now just be back in hell, basically, of trying to
yeah,
compete.
it's just so we were talking about this, we were making our power ranking. They're just such a there's like zero upside of them. There's really nothing to do. You just have to wait for these players to wither out
Acuff is a
almost.
great pick. It's not a player that's going to change the direction of your team in a matter of seasons. It's going to take people around him who want to win and for him to very much elevate.
Like Cooper Flag right now, he's one of the best rookies we've seen in a little bit, and he hasn't elevated his team even to the playoffs. So like I just truly believe that, Darius Acuff, he's a great basketball player. It's gonna take a lot more trades, a lot more moving of money to get this team to even a playoff into the playoffs. And I just DeMar DeRozan, he's a great player. I truly believe that him as a free agent, I think his best fit would be at the Miami Heat. I think that he could add a little bit of space to a very clogged Miami Heat team. Uh, but the Sacramento Kings are just on the struggle bus right now.
For DeRozan, I'd love to see him take a backup role somewhere or more of like a utility role than a guy you expect to take 20 shots and be your leading scorer of the night.
Yeah, it's just it just you saw it. It just didn't work for the Kings, and now they are
It
in the
didn't work
depths
for it
because of
didn't
it.
work for the Bulls, it didn't work for the Kings.
Yeah, it's sad to see, but DeMar DeRozan, he's still that DeMar where he is a shot chucker. He is that kind of, but he's still like I think if he goes in that role, he could be a very interesting player. Uh, taking lesser role, taking less shots, but being more efficient.
So that'll move us out of our recent news onto just some basic free agency talk. I want to get your opinions, biggest winners, losers so far, anyone that you have been impressed with their moves, not impressed with their moves,
Uh, I mean, I want to talk about Giannis going to the Heat.
obviously.
I think that's such a big trade that we have to discuss on it. Giannis going to the Heat, such a win for the Heat in the fact that you have a new superstar on your team. Bam Adebayo isn't that kind of, I mean, he did score 83 points, but he is not that kind of, he's not that player. And I think bringing that kind of superstar onto your team under somebody like Spoelstra, who's such an outstanding coach, that on paper it seems like, you know what, we got Bam Adebayo and Giannis. Like, where is there going to be space? We have negative space right now. The paint's clogged. How are we going to make it work? I think that there's no better coach besides Eric for him to figure out that puzzle piece and getting that team into a contender in the East.
So one of the big losers in these major trades and signings that I've seen, in my opinion, as someone that has to go against this team in the playoffs every year, is the Minnesota Timberwolves. I feel like, yes, they needed to get a star like LaMelo Ball, or not like LaMelo Ball, because I don't like that fit, but they needed to get a star to go next to Anthony Edwards, but they get rid of Naz Reid and guys that are committed to T-Wolves basketball in the process, and they get a guy that sure he's a great player, sure he's an all-star caliber guy, but he does not fit the T-Wolves style of basketball. So I think sure their offense might be a lot better, but in the long run, is LaMelo gonna guard your guy the full length of the court and pick him up at half court? He's not gonna do that. So I think their defense and their intensity is gonna take a major hit.
Yeah, I just don't think you could win an NBA championship with LaMelo Ball.
And the
And
Hornets saw that.
that's the grand scheme of things. And like you said, the Hornets saw that. Like the goal is to win an NBA championship. And I truly don't believe LaMelo Ball is the type of player to win an NBA championship. Yeah, he can sell tickets, sell jerseys, but is he going to be winning basketball? I don't think so. I think that the Hornets saw that. They picked somebody like Kobe White, who's more of a veteran guard, who's been at this for a while. He's a player that you know what you're going to get from every single night. It's going to be about the same. Where LaMelo Ball just has high highs and really low lows that could, I mean, when it comes to that time when the playoffs come around and you're relying on that kind of player, if he's in a cold streak, you stand no chance against a team like OKC, like the
because
Nuggets, like
he's
the
not going to give
Spurs.
you help on defense either, is the thing. So if
Yeah.
he is not having it offensively, it's just a complete net negative for
Yeah.
the T-Wolves.
I also, like you said, I think the Hornets were in the right direction, but I also think they
I think the
kind of
returns they
fogged it a
got
little
for
bit.
LaMelo and Miles Bridges just
I just don't think it was the right idea. I just don't think they executed well. I do not think they're the biggest losers, but I also think that they did not perform this offseason the way that as a Hornets fan you would ideally want.
so the other major signings that we can touch on out east, these two, Jaylen Brown traded to the Sixers, Paul George going to the Celtics. Kawhi off the Clippers traded back to Toronto, and then in the West, just a signing or a trade to touch on a little bit is John Morant off the Grizzlies, fresh start over in Portland.
Yeah. And I'll touch on Toronto because I know you're pitching a tent over that. Uh I
Look, man. Kawhi is just, he's the man over there. They've got quickly RJ, Kawhi, Scotty Barnes, Pirtle as a starting five, Colin Murray Burrows off the bench, and just a ton of guys that have some upside. And I just love to see, like, you saw what Kawhi did at times this season. You saw what he did in the All-Star game. He still has the ability to be a top five scorer in this league.
Yeah, I would be frothing out the mouth if I'm a Raptors fan right now. This is just such a exciting year, such an exciting season that is awaiting for you. You have the players. It has the championship-esque team. Still some young players on there, but that's kind of what Toronto was missing was that superstar and the
Yes,
fact
yes.
that they're trying to push them Scotty Barnes. Yeah, he's a great defensive player, but is
He's a
he that
long
kind?
way from being at the top level. And now they
Yeah.
get that guy to go alongside him that has already done it twice and won finals MVPs.
Like if I'm in a close situation, am I wanting Scotty Barnes, RJ Barrett, or Emmanuel to quickly hit that shot? No. But like with a player like Kawhi, I just think it just adds that offensive capability that just shoots the team off the roof and it improves their already defensively strong team. So I think it's so massive for the Toronto Raptors right now.
It adds some method to the madness for
100%.
what they're doing. So on to Jaylen Brown. Thoughts with him going to the Sixers, what the Sixers and Celtics were building. I know you're still high on the Celtics.
I can never say we were talking about yeah, I can never say the Celtics are gonna be a bad team. I just do not see them in any aspect where they're not gonna be at least top five in the East. And even when it comes to playoffs, they have that experience. Joe Mazzulla is an incredible coach. He has preached the 3-point shot through this team for many years. And yeah, I do think that they got a little scammed, a little greedy with the Jaylen Brown trade. I think they could have gotten a lot more for that. Uh, but at the same time, so Paul George and Jaylen Brown had the exact contract. They didn't lose any money, they didn't gain any money. So it's kind of like you at base swapped him, but you have really pushed that Jason Tatum is going to be your star player. And we saw Jaylen Brown do it last year. It was just him. He went on his own with these role players, and they were a number two seed in the East with a 50 plus win season. And I think, they're a massive 3-point shooting team.
I was about to bring this up. I loved this point that you brought up watching Mitchell Robinson play when we were making our power rankings.
Yeah, it's just you're a 3-point dominant team. You need offensive boards. Why not go and grab the best offensive board rebounder in the league? You got Mitchell Robinson, and Paul George, towards the end of that Sixers stint, was playing well. He was playing good basketball. I mean, he's still a veteran player, so I think as long as he averages a little bit more than 16 to 18 points per game, he's there on defense. And I truly believe that the Celtics have these players, and Joe Mazzulla is making players like Hugo Gonzalez. They're making players like Sam Hauser valuable on a team. And I think it's just great what they're doing over there. Where on the other side, the Sixers, I think there's a lot of questions to be had about the Sixers.
I think so too. It's a very interesting, like kind of roster they're trying to build. Yes, I would love to get Jaylen Brown on my team, and that's what they saw. And they're like, this is a guy that won the Finals MVP 2 years ago and just led a Celtics team that was supposed to be dead in the water to the 2 seed. So obviously they want to go after him. Tyrese Maxey on the come up, BJ Edgecombe. They had a solid draft. Embiid is still up in the air, but they beat the Celtics in the playoff. And now they grab one of their best players to go alongside him. They signed Dean Wade as well, who I think was a great signing. So I think they're in a solid spot. It's just still with the Sixers, there's never any consistency to what you're going to get.
Yeah, I think that injury is just the biggest thing for the Sixers, uh
Embiid,
whether
yeah.
it's with Embiid, even players like Dean Wade. Dean Wade missed some time last year because of injury. I think that Dean Wade's a massive signing for them. Adds defense to that team. Uh, Dean Wade and VJ Edgecombe is a pretty disgusting like defensive duo right there. Uh, I do think that their team's better from last year on paper. They're a better team than last year. Do I think these players will work together? I mean,
We
only
stand to
time will
see.
tell.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that, Tyrese Maxey is taking such an elevation in
I
his
love
game.
Maxey, man.
Jaylen Brown, the way he played last year, he was that guy. He was that guy. He was a leader. He just keeps improving every year, and it's incredible to see.
We'll end it off, and then I'll ask for any other thoughts from you with Ja Morant and the situation of him being freed from Memphis, heading to the Trailblazers to compete in a backcourt next to Damian Lillard. Some other moves they've made over there. They've got Denny Avdia still. They've got Klingon on the come up. Lots of guards. Drew Holiday, Shaden Sharp. Um, Thoughts on Ja getting a fresh start?
I mean, yeah, it's a fresh start. The biggest thing for the Trailblazers is getting Ja on the court. It's the biggest thing. I just think Ja still has gravity on the court and it will draw defenses
That
in.
level of athleticism just can't be taught.
It can't be taught and you have to guard it or something will happen. You're gonna get nuts to your straight like right to the dome if you're not careful. But I think that honestly, does it make him better? I don't think so. Does it make him worse? I still don't think so. I mean, Denny Avia has improved and he's improving at a great rate, and it's something to be excited about.
I think the bigger thing for them even is just getting Dame for the season and seeing how bad he wants to compete there in Portland, seeing how healthy he can be. And now you throw Ja into the mix, just see what can happen with him, see if he gives you another piece to build around for the future.
Yeah, and I think the Trailblazers are confident in the fact that, they're not competing in the playoffs anytime soon with these giants in the West. And I think they're just experimenting, trying what's new, what's not. Do I think they need to have a little bit more urgency? Yes, because Denny
Denny
Avdia
Avdia
is
has already proven himself
he's proving himself, and I think it's time to make efforts to improve around him.
instead of just kind of grabbing off the shelves and seeing like
Yeah,
we're throwing this, seeing what
they're
sticks.
kind of just grabbing team sloppy seconds, and maybe it could work, but I just think you need it. Like it's not working for the Nets. They're just grabbing players
Yeah,
sloppy
yeah.
seconds. I just truly don't believe it's going to work for the Trailblazers either.
So, any other winners, losers, final thoughts of free agency so far? Obviously, we've got a lot to go. The
Mhm.
LeBron decision will probably come
Yeah.
soon. Lots of free agents still on the board.
Uh, the Nets. Talk about them a little bit. Julius Randle to the Nets.
I
I
thought it
mean,
was an okay pickup. I really don't think the Nets can do anything to move the needle, but I think it was okay.
if I'm a Nets player, I'm so pissed right now because I'm not sniffing the ball on the court if Julius Randle and Michael Porter Jr. on my
Look,
team.
bro, their rookie they drafted too, Mikal Brown Jr. This dude was the gravity for Louisville in college last year. And so now it's going to be way too many mouths to feed over there. And it's just going to be,
It's
it'll
just
be so interesting to
I
see
think like the Nets could truly beat any team in the NBA, but at the same time, they're gonna
lose
be
to
the
any
worst.
team.
Yeah, they're
Yep.
gonna be the worst. They're one of the worst records.
All right, so that'll wrap up some free agency talk. Obviously, we'll revisit a lot of free agency stuff every week, but that'll bring us into one of our weekly things that we're going to do, and that is our stat patter of the week. People will look at box scores, not watch film. Obviously, we're the StatPad podcast. So we're trying to pick out a player every week to look at that box score, but also look at the film and kind of the outlook. And we're in summer league right now, so that's where we've picked from. But obviously Summer League doesn't have maximum gravity. Players have done terrible in Summer League and went on to be unreal. Players have been unreal in Summer League and went on to be role players. But our stat pattern of the week, we've got Darius Acuff for the Kings. It's a rookie that I am very high on, but when you look at those stats, just off base looking at those stats, game one, 24 minutes, 25 points on 9 of 29 shooting, 1 of 9 from deep, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, a turnover. That's a lot of shots. Obviously, they're giving him the reins, but game two, 28 minutes, 22 points on 7 of 19 shooting, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 turnovers. So obviously, you can't take too much weight in this performance. He's a small guard. He's trying to earn his own and figure out the NBA, and they're saying just go do whatever you want. But obviously, you look and you see 9 of 29. If you're a small guard, you need to have efficiency like Brunson. 9 for 29 is not going to get it done.
Yeah, I look at it and I just see, like you said, it's just a player trying to get his stripes in the NBA. And if I'm the Kings, I think that's the way you want to go at it. Uh, and you need to get out. You need to get these this shot chucking out now. Then when it comes to
That's
once
what I'm
like it
saying.
starts
Yeah, I mean,
mattering,
that's why I completely understand it. We've got to pick someone to win the award.
yeah, it's he's building confidence and
And he's putting up points, 25 points and 22 points in his first two
I
games.
mean, if I'm an NBA team, I'm honestly I'm happy about that. You got a player who's putting up points at the end of the day. You got to score points to win. And I think he's just going to develop efficiency as he grows, and I'm excited to see his improvement in the NBA.
He's going to be the lead guy over there, so it's good they're getting him going early and saying, it's your team, do what you want to do.
Yeah.
So that'll bring us into Summer League talk. The official Las Vegas Summer League starts today. We've got AJ DeBonsa, Keaton Wagler, LeBaron Philon are all going to make their debuts tonight, which is very interesting. But we've also had some early Summer League of a couple teams over in these other little circuits and leagues that have been going on. Um, some standouts that I had listed that we can go into, and then any other notes from Summer League. Darren Peterson, the number 2 pick in the draft, has been unreal, has proven himself to just be a bona fide scorer. 2 wins in both of the games he played. 28 points on 11 for 21 shooting. He did have 8 turnovers that game. Definitely something to look at. Game two, another win, 25 points on 8 of 15 with 12 assists. He's already proven that he just has this desire to be the best, and he has been so much fun to watch.
Yeah, I think it's exciting if you're sitting there as an organization, you get to see your player already putting up these kind of stats and these kind of like uh what is the word I'm looking for? Just like seeing your player really starting to like take charge and
It's a
really want to
player
dominate.
that can come into the Jazz already and just plug right in as an NBA caliber player.
Yeah, and I think during the draft, a lot of people were saying, the debate between DeBonsa or Peterson at number one. People were saying that, Peterson's gonna be the most NBA ready player, but maybe DeBonsa has a higher ceiling. I think that is true, but I think he's proven right now. I still have room for improvement. I still want to be that guy, and I'm going to be that guy in the league. And I think you're just gotta be so excited about that, uh, as the
He's
Jazz organization.
he's saying, "Hey, like I know I'm not the number 1 pick. I'm coming for rookie of the year and to be the best player in this draft class and to be
Mhm.
a staple of the Jazz roster for years to come."
Yeah.
So I've been very impressed by him. Um, Second player I've got to mention, Yaxel Lindenborg, very interesting for the Warriors. In his first game for one of the Warriors squads, 19 points, 6 of 6, didn't miss a shot, 4 of 4 from deep. 6 assists, 5 rebounds, just kind of stuff in the stat sheet. And then in the second game, 11 points on 4 of 11, 8 rebounds, cut down the turnovers a little bit. Obviously, I don't feel very confident about the Warriors this year, but I watched a lot of Yaxel at Michigan, and it's a player that when Curry is gone, it's something that they at least have to build around. And he's showing, obviously, he was in college for a while, but he's ready to go as well in the NBA.
Yeah, I think Yaxel's an interesting player in the fact that he is he's not going to be you don't really see a superstar caliber
No, I
player in
don't see
him,
that pathway at all
and
for him.
it's kind of just sitting there, like if you're the Warriors, you're just wanting him to be that kind of like developed player in the fact that they did with Draymond Green, how they developed him into being a important piece into their offense, just developing Yaxel as a bona fide like starter and somebody that you can rely on to get the job done every
Just a
night.
piece of any sort that you can build around.
Yeah, and I think he's going to be exciting for that defensive aspect because of how big his size is. And I think that, if he can keep developing that shot, and he went 100% in a game. That's pretty impressive, especially in summer league. I just think that, if you keep developing that offense on top of that already massive physique, I think that could be exciting for the Warriors.
And there will be a lot of room for him to build and
A
improve
lot of
on the
room for
Warriors team
improvement,
this
and that's
year.
good. That's what you want out of your draft players is that room for improvement.
And then my last main point to hit of some standouts I've seen so far is the Hawks first round duo. I think the Hawks won the draft. I was thinking they were going to get Big Ade Mara from Michigan. They go Kingston Fleming's very high touted guard. And then they've got their second pick in the second round. I think it was pick 22 or 23. And everyone thought they were going to take Henry Visar to get that big man. They go Zuby Ejiofor, kind of a project type pick who's already proven himself. But then they go and get Visar at pick 52 still, a player that everyone had listed as a first round pick and a top 30 player in the draft.
Yeah, it's really if and Henry Vasar, everybody. I was talking about the Knicks picking him up at pick like 25, and he just kept dropping and dropping. It's just if you're the Atlanta Hawks, you gotta be so happy because you still got that anticipated player that you
You
wanted
still got that
in the
center that you
20s.
so badly
Didn't
need.
want didn't waste a first round pick on it and waited till the second round.
And now they get
But
a guy like Ejiofor, who I'll go through these stats in a second after I go back to you, that is a project pick and could turn into something unreal while you still get Fleming's one of the best guards in the draft and a center.
yeah, I think Flemings is so huge for them. I mean, CJ McCollum is their guard right now, and Flemings coming in, I think that could be really exciting. Kind of that Trey Young-esque player that they were looking for, and that was Trey Young for a little bit, but now they got a younger version, a more athletic
With
version.
more athleticism,
Yeah,
defensive intensity, covers all the
I
bases.
think they really just had a really great, well-rounded draft.
So for Flemings and Ejiofor in their stats of their 2 games they've played, they lost the first game, they won the second game. And the scoring is not what I'm really looking at. Flemings was taking a lot of shots, kind of the same deal with Acuff. In his first game, he went 4 of 16. He had 14 points, but he had 9 assists, 4 steals, was +5. Ejiofor in that same game, 8 points, 11 rebounds, 3 blocks, +10. Flemings in their second game that they won, 12 points on 4 of 10 shooting, 2 rebounds, 5 assists, but he was +21 in that game. And then Ejiofor in that game, 19 points, 15 rebounds, and a block. So Ejiofor already has 26 rebounds through 2 games and is +17. And Flemings already has a ton of steals and has been running the offense and has been +26 for them through two
Yeah,
games.
I think that you gotta be excited as a Hawks fan just to
You can
see
already see the impact. And
see
they
the
have a
impact.
ton of players already on that team where if these guys can just impact the game positively, it's just going to make the Hawks even better.
Yeah, like Jalen Johnson's job on that Hawks team was so difficult. I mean, he stepped in, he was putting up triple doubles, double doubles every single night. And I think that adding these kind of players kind of takes the load off of him and it's able to uh they're able to push as a team to start winning games with this exciting new young core. And the Hawks are so young already. They're so young with Jalen Johnson and Dyson Daniels to because
Nikhil
Dyson
Alexander
Daniels,
Walker's
like
still pretty
exactly.
young.
And like those kind of players, like adding more offense to it already, I would say they're pretty defensively strong team. And I think that was shown in the playoffs versus the Knicks. The defense, I'm besides us being us being run by someone. But I think that it's exciting. It's exciting to see. I think they're gonna have a prominent role in the East this year. And I think they're definitely a very scary if I'm in the East, I'm scared of a seven
Of
seed,
matching up
six
against the
team
Hawks.
Hawks.
Yes.
Like that is a scary upset team if I were to play against them. So it's a team to look out for next season.
But for them, I think just the biggest thing we've already seen it through Edge of Four. One of my buddies is a big Hawks fan, and he's like, we need a center and we need rebounding. Yes, they get Visar, he's a bit of a project, but because they waited to get him, they got to spin that first round pick on Zuby Edge of Four, who has 26 rebounds through his 2 games. And that's a guy in there who's going to be in there and be physical and help with their rebounding issue, which I think is a big thing for the Hawks if they want to take a next step. So to close out summer league talk so far, before we get into some of the big games tonight of the Las Vegas Summer League and all the teams get on. Like the Nuggets don't even play till Friday. The Knicks, they might play tonight. I'm not 100% sure. But some other players I just wanted to shout out. Boozer and Cedric Coward for the Grizzlies have done good work so far, but any other thoughts on those two players? Any other players on some of the players that are about to play in Summer League?
I'm saying this now. I think Boozer is not going to be that great of a player in the
You've said
NBA.
that for a good long
I'm
while.
not a Boozer hater. I just don't understand the hype. Yeah, he was great in college, but the way he played at Duke was just find a mismatch. They would mismatch him onto a smaller
It
guard, and
fit
all
the
he
college
would
game.
is just drop step. Like when you're 6'9" and that size and that is your bag, that is never going to work on centers that are 6'11", even stronger than you are. Uh, Rudy Gobert, Walker Kessler, maybe Şengün, he's soft. But Victor Wembanyama, that's just not gonna work. And like the thing that I need to see from Cameron Boozer to make me think he's on that top five and such a high top, like a great draft class for him to be as regarded as high as them, I need to see that offensive leap where he extends past the 3-point line. He becomes a little bit more agile. He's kind of a slower player. He's strong, but he's slower. I just need to see those kind of jumps where like I'm excited to see my number third or fourth.
Third.
My number three overall pick for him to be that exciting player that brings my dying franchise of the Memphis Grizzlies back from the dead.
So for me, final thought, like can't be an episode if I didn't mention LeBaron Philon. First game tonight for the Sixers. Super excited to watch him. So that'll close out our summer league. We'll be back revisiting that, especially next week as it's like really underway with all the teams. But we'll move into our episode 1 power rankings. Took a lot of time building these up, getting these ready to go, going team by team to kind of look at the outlooks. And this will be something we update weekly with free agency and all these different news and moves that we get. But we'll start it off at number 30. We already gave them some good coverage in this episode because of Darius Acuff, but it's the Sacramento Kings at number 30.
Like we said, it is a sad place to be as a Sacramento Kings fan. And they just have nothing going for them besides Darius Acuff. And you look at Darius Acuff and you just think like, is this going to be a player that just fades out of the league
And then
because of just the team he got drafted to? I truly do believe that it's going to be hard for them these next couple of years to make any progress.
that's what I'm super worried about. They just don't have a ton that can even. They got Neat Clifford, dude, they drafted out of Colorado State, a couple seasons ago. But Domantas Sabonis has hit a wall. Levine opted to come back. Why? Why would you want to stay on that team? Russell Westbrook's probably gone. Obviously, DeMar's a free agent. It really just is a rough place to be with not a lot of way forward right now.
And I just don't understand how they get out of it. Like, yeah, other teams I will discuss right above them, it's just they have draft like value, or not draft value. They have player value in the way they can trade. Where these Zach LaVine, Domantas Sabonis, if I'm a franchise, I'm steering clear of them. Like it's just like it is a scary place to be as the Sacramento Kings right now.
The only positive to look for, obviously, is Acuff. It'll be exciting to see what he can get into first season with no expectations. But that'll bring us to number 29. We've got the New Orleans Pelicans, a team that they have talented players and just continue to not have success. I mean, there's obviously room for a jump with Derek Queen and Jeremiah Fears entering their second season, but Zion's not going to stay healthy. They're shopping Trey Murphy right now. I want Herb Jones to get off that team as well, but they're just on the struggle bus as well. They just can't win games.
Now this is a team where I feel like you said, they have a great young core where I think they do have value in their players. I'm surprised they don't trade their players
That's
in
what I'm saying. One
on
of the things
return.
I saw at last trade deadline was the Pelicans are the only absolutely atrocious, horrible team that has five untouchable players. At the trade deadline, they were not shopping Zion, Trey Murphy, Herb, Jeremiah Fears, or Derek Queen. They just think something's suddenly going to change, and that's not going to happen.
Yeah, I just don't understand like I said, they have such a valuable team, and why are we not making steps to build around one of these players, maybe even two? You have that many that you could really make some great trades off of. And I just don't understand it if I am a Pelicans fan sitting here wondering like what is my team ever gonna do? But like so let me see. The New Orleans Pelicans have a top 10 most expensive roster in the league, and they performed piss poor last
Yeah,
year. They're only $7 million. Uh, oh wait, no, that's wrong. They're $28 million below the second apron. Now I truly believe that either A, you can get rid of a player, get some draft capital back, and make a big signing. I mean that opportunity is probably gone now.
yeah.
But like I just don't understand what they're doing. The New Orleans Pelicans are just twiddling their thumbs, sitting back and watching the rest of the league have fun.
That's really what it feels like. A sign of life from that front office would be trading any of these guys. If they
Yes.
trade Trey Murphy, it at least means they're doing something. But they
Yeah.
have all these guys that have shown great flashes, and they're like, all right, we're going to sit here and wait for one of them to be the guy. And it hasn't happened for seasons on seasons. And so that's why they are stuck at 29. We'll move down to number 28, which is the Memphis Grizzlies. We already went over a little bit. Cam Boozer, obviously, they're hoping he's a franchise changing pick. They get rid of John Morant. But we were talking about this when we were making the rankings. They just, that roster is just so mid. That's not a team that's going to compete at all. Cedric Howard, Jeremy Grant, Boozer, Edie, and maybe Gigi Jackson, whoever they have at point guard, that team's
It's
not going to compete.
it's just an ugly team. Like if I'm a franchise like in my team, I'm just like puking. Genuinely, like what if I'm an owner of that franchise, who's gonna want to buy a Memphis Grizzly ticket? Nobody. Who wants to see that kind of ball? Nobody. Like it's just, yeah, I guarantee you that they easily could be back to number 30 because I just don't understand what offense or even defense you can form with this team.
It's going to be, yeah, I just don't know. When they were drafting, they got Boozer. That was obviously the pick to make there, in my opinion. But then they had pick 16, and they trade John Morant, or Ja hadn't been traded yet, actually, I don't think. But I was like, they're going to get rid of John Morant. They need to get a new point guard or guard that can fit into this with so many guards available. Abuko Corey out of Stanford was on the board. Bennett Sturts from Iowa was on the board. LeBaron Philon was still on the board. They trade back and they took the dude from Mexico, I believe, or some foreign dude. I forget his name. Forgive me, but I just I thought I saw the vision while they were drafting. I would have loved an elite guard and Boozer to give them something to build off of though. And then they go completely away from that. They don't draft a guard.
Yeah, like you said, like we literally said that like we could see the vision, but it just wasn't there. Like we saw like, oh wait, you guys are doing
I'm
something about
seeing
this,
this.
but then it was just executed so poorly.
Yeah, it left me walking away from the draft just how I went into it. And that's why I don't have confidence in the Grizzlies. If people see the vision for what you can do for your team and it's pretty obvious and you don't do it, you're not going to improve.
Yeah.
So 27, we've got the Bucks. Obviously, Giannis gone. Tyler Hero coming in, a haul from the Heat. They had a solid draft too, in my opinion. I like Nate Ament a lot of out of Tennessee. I like Braden Berries. He's a solid guard out of Arizona. But there's just not enough star caliber talent on that team to really be a contender or
Uh,
do well in the East.
yeah, I just think the Bucks are happy to finally get the Giannis situation past them, and start moving towards something new. It's gonna take a couple years, and I think they know that. It's just time to sit back and draft. That's all you can really do.
And I
Try
think
to
for
hit
them, they
strike
have a
gold.
better future than a lot of these teams. They've got young guys. They got Kello Ware in that trade. I liked both of their picks, like I said. Um, just keep tanking and making picks and waiting on some of these guys to develop. So it's honestly, I'm not faulting them like I am these other teams. It's just kind of the situation you're in, and it doesn't look like you're gonna win.
Yeah, yeah, because yeah, if you're an organization and there's a player who gave you an NBA championship like Giannis, you have to end it with respect. It's kind of just like
You
an
got to do
unwritten
all you
rule.
can to keep him, first of all, and then you've got to
Yeah.
do all you can to get out of there in
To
the
make
right
sure
situation.
he's satisfied because nobody's going to want to work for your organization or like be in your organization if you just treat them like a bunch of numbers. And it's a difficult situation to be in, that mix of like we want to get value out of you, but we also want to make sure you're happy. So, yeah.
So under them at 26, we've got the Brooklyn Nets. We touched on them earlier with Julius Randle. It's just gonna be, I'm gonna say it is gonna be fun basketball for sure, but it's
Yeah,
not a team that's gonna win games like
it,
they've proven.
it's a team that's going to have no chance of sniffing the playoffs, but I think they've just randomly beat great teams like the Thunder or like
MPJ can
teams
give you a
like
random 40 ball. Julius
ex
Randle can give you a random 40
exactly.
ball.
I just think it's a team that's just going to be, fun to watch in the fact that they're just going to randomly beat teams, but then lose 60%, not even
MPJ might be in the
80% of their
All-Star
games.
race again,
Yeah,
but
like it'd be so funny. Or even imagine Julius Randle gets
is an
another
All-Star for the
All-Star. Like
Nets.
that'd be so funny. Yeah, it's just a fun team that it's gonna be able to watch, just burn, but like be funny.
Yeah, they've got a lot of rookies and now sophomores, I guess, from their last draft where they had like 4 first-round picks. They got Mikal Brown Jr. coming in, who I already shouted out. So maybe there's some development that goes on in there this year, but it's not going to be successful. Um, 25, we've got the Phoenix Suns. We talked about them heavy making this ranking. When they got off KD, they got Dillon Brooks. He's been all right for them. Devin Booker just continues to waste away there. They get Miles Bridges now coming in, but like there's really no direction for that team either.
Yeah, I think it's like a situation where you're just like stuck. You're stuck in the mud, and the fact that you don't really have, like you said, any direction because are you gonna get rid of Devin Booker, who's really expensive, that other teams not might he's losing value in the
By
fact
the
that
year, yes.
he's an expensive player, but he just looks unvaluable because their team's just not doing well. Even though he's a great player, and I'm sure many people will have him, but like the Suns are saying he's untouchable. Like at some point you gotta let him be
You got to make the
touchable.
change instead of just being a playing team.
Just gotta let him be touchable, bro.
Yo. Yep. Come
But
on,
that
bro.
like Devin Booker, he's still an outstanding player.
He is. He is.
It's just zero, like you said, zero direction. I just don't see where they're going with this team.
Below them at 24, we've got the Golden State Warriors. And we talked about Yaxel earlier. Curry is obviously expiring. There was a really high chance they were going to get LeBron at first when the plan was get LeBron and get AD. And then the Wizards said AD is not moving. And LeBron said, I'm not going to play there and die with Curry.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the LeBron and Warriors situation is the first ever recorded base of rage bait in the NBA. Like it's just been rage bait
You
after
knew
rage
there'd
bait
be rage bait with this LeBron
every
situation.
single year. Oh, he's going to the Warriors. He's going to no, he's not. He's simply it sounds like such a sweet idea, but it's just never gonna happen. And we originally had the Warriors hired because like there was that off chance, but now with this recent news, there's just it's just a happy retirement home for Draymond or for Stephen Curry just to sit there and shoot some buckets, get
Sure,
some threes.
they might be a playing team again. I have no doubt in Curry, but like he's at the end of his expiration date and they really have no one else on that squad.
Yeah.
So below the Warriors, we've got the LA Clippers, who I've been a little bit impressed with what they've done this offseason. They've got Darius Garland, obviously, they got last season in that Harden move. Kawhi is shipped off, but they got Brandon Ingram in the return. They've got Benedict Mathurin, who might still be a piece of that team moving forward. Drafted Keaton Wagler at the fifth pick. So I'm seeing a little bit of what they're doing. They're getting high quality players, but it's not a roster that when you look at it is going to really be successful and should be higher on these rankings.
Yeah, I think it's a excitingly mid team in the fact that Brandon Ingram's
Excitingly mid.
yeah, like I like Darius Garland, Brandon Ingram, just these players, Rui
I think they've got Brooke
Hachimura. It's
Lopez
just
still over
like,
there, Rui.
is there gonna be good stints? Yeah, because some of these people are just really like on fire shooters, and but like, am I happy if I'm the Clippers? No, like I'm still dissatisfied. You guys still need
There's moves to
that
make, and I feel
that.
like the players they have value still to do other
Mhm.
stuff.
Exactly. And I think they're in a better spot than other teams because of, like you said, that value. They still have value to the rest of the league. And I think there are opportunities for them to prove themselves this year, build their value. And I think that's if you're the Clippers, you're just hoping that your players will build value because you just lost your superstar and you're just hoping that you can get in contention by getting somebody else's
Yeah,
superstar.
seeing what Keaton Waller can do in his rookie season, they're just kind of the same situation as the Bucks, just seeing what is the move moving forward. So there's not a ton of there's not competition level excitement for this season, but there is some excitement.
Mhm.
So that'll kind of end off for me what I feel like is teams that I see very negatively. I guess not so much with the Clippers. They might already be in this range. But at number 22, we've got the Chicago Bulls, which I think they had a great draft as well, going out and getting Caleb Wilson. He was the consensus number 4 overall pick. Then they get a huge shooting guard, 6'8", Dalen Swain out of Texas, who's a dog. And it just feels like they have a formulated starting five now and a player that I've been seeing stuff that they've been posting. He wants to be on the level of Michael Jordan over there in Chicago.
Yeah, I think that it's so like just the ceiling for this team could be so high, and I think that's what is just so great about the Bulls right now and why we have them ranked decently high is that we think that these young players are really got a lot of going for them, especially with Caleb Wilson. I think Caleb Wilson was the third best player in the draft.
You had said
I
that.
I think that he can jump out the gym. His athleticism is incredible. He has that mid-range shot that is really it's smooth. It's butter, honestly. And that his defense is great as well. I love his defense.
They
And
picked up
pairing
Claxton to go right beside him as
exactly and
well.
pairing him up with Nick Claxton is really exciting. It's just such a young athletic team with Montes Buzelas, and you have Josh Giddey leading the helm. I think
Norman
that
Powell as well, who was the
Norman
all-star.
Powell, All-Star, like it's just they keep adding depth, and I think that is just going to be so important and for their growth as a team.
And they've got players on the bench. Obviously, I'm not very high on Rob Dillingham anymore, but now his role isn't as cut out there. He's a player you can throw in there. They've got guys on the bench that could turn into contributors and cement a spot on that bench. So they can sift through their bench now that they have a starting five, can sift through their bench players, get rid of the ones they don't need, and then refresh with new ones alongside the ones they do want to keep and build themselves into a contender. So below them, we've got the Dallas Mavericks at number 21. Kyrie, we'll see how he is coming back. Cooper Flag obviously had an unreal rookie season, was so much fun to watch. Derek Lively should be back this season. They've still got some of the guys that were there on that team that went to the championship series. PJ Washington's still there. They've got Zeke Naji, some other guys over there. But they're also a bit of a question mark. I think Cooper Flag's definitely going to take another step because he's so good. But how's it going to look when Kyrie's back with him?
Exactly. I think that's the biggest question mark and why it's so prominent for this team is that what is your I mean they're banking on Cooper Flag, but they're also banking on Kyrie. Kyrie still has a massive responsibility for the team, and I think that after this like absolutely tragic injury, like you all you can do is hope and pray. Honestly, that's all you can do if you're the Mavs. You're just hoping and praying that, you didn't lose this much money and this much value
While
out of
sitting
one of
here
your
waiting,
players
yeah.
while your your new rookie star is growing so much. Like you want somebody to go with him in this growth. So,
I
yeah.
think they could definitely be a team that is a play-in team and could maybe even fringe playoff if things go well for them, but it could also just be another season where they don't have a lot of success. So at 20, we've got the Orlando Magic, who we were pretty both, we were harsh on them when we were making these rankings.
Stinky.
They're another team that we feel like is just stuck and are in the Eastern Conference that continues to get better, and they are just falling behind in the race now.
They're just like uh it's just like it's so sloppy and it's so disgusting the way they play. And I just
This
think these
last season was genuinely just,
it was just straight goy slop. And I just don't understand how this team can improve unless you just start shipping out players. Like it's time to move on. This did not work, in
sure,
my
you tried
opinion.
the Paulo Franz, Desmond Bane big three. You've got some good guards around there. You've got Wendell Carter
Yeah.
Jr. still and some other
I
guys,
think there's
but
players on that team that are still very valuable and you want to keep on your team, but there's also players that like I don't see a Desmond Bain still being valuable for them. I don't see uh I don't know.
and they
It's
gave
just
up
like
four first rounders to get him.
exactly
So
that's
they're
the
out
thing.
of picks
They're
as
they're
well.
just so stuck in the mud. At least they have good play like they're all great players, in my opinion. I just don't think they're playing well together. But they're just so stuck in the fact that, we've given up everything for this team and we're not performing. It's
Mm-mm.
just I just don't see this team competing with some of these teams that are being formed in the East.
Yeah, it sucks for him to go all in on that and be so excited about it and it not be working so far. So they either have some moves to make or some serious team building to do to turn things around. And I think a move that describes where the Magic are perfectly is they cut Jonathan Isaac after the season. He's a free agent. And then the news comes out that the Orlando Magic have signed free agent Jonathan Isaac. It's like you don't even know what you are doing as a team. Do you want to cut the guy? Do you want to keep the guy? Sure, it might have had some contract implications for cutting his contract down, but they can't even make up their mind what to do.
Yeah, it's just a lost organization, and that's truly all you can say about it right now.
So, number 19, we've got the Utah Jazz, which we talked about Darren Peterson earlier. They did trade Kessler, who I was excited to see with this new Jazz team this year, but Darren Peterson, Keontae George, Lauri Markkanen, Jaren Jackson Jr. That is a team that can really shake things up over in the West.
Yeah, I think that they definitely could already be a play like a get into the playoff kind of team. And it's kind of like, I mean, the thing with the Mavericks is that they brought Cooper Flag into a team that there wasn't many great players on the team, but this Jazz team drafts
They bring Darren Peters, yes.
a number two overall pick and plugs him straight into a team that already looked pretty stinking good. So I think there's just so much upside in the fact that I think they could really push for the playoffs this year.
Below them, we've got a team kinda. I see them in the same situation. It's the Washington Wizards at 18 because they go get DeBonsa and they plug him in with guys who are proven. Sure, Trey is a bit of a question mark. Sure, AD gets injured all the time, but they've made trades as well for Ayton and Middleton. They have so many young guys over there. Trey Johnson, who they just took top 10 last season, Keyshawn George, Bilal Coulibaly, just a lot of depth over on that team. So I could see them just taking off from the start and being a competitor.
Yeah, I think that the biggest thing, like you said, is their depth. I think that's what puts them above a team like the Jazz is that their depth is that I think they have players eight players back that could be valuable for their team to sub on to. Only question mark is Anthony Davis. But besides that, I'm really excited to see how Trey Young does on a different team. Excited to see how DeBonsa really grows as a player. It's gonna be fun for them.
Yeah, it's going to be fun time in Washington this season for the first time in a long time. And even if AD goes down, they've still got guys there. They can go Sar and Ayton as their backcourt for a little bit. So that depth really could help them take a leap this year alongside DeBonsa and some new additions. So number 17 is the Portland Trailblazers. We touched on them a lot earlier, so we don't got to go too much more in detail about them. But it's a team they're just trying to see what's going to happen. Denny Avdia already proved himself. They do have young guys. Klingon had a good season. Um, but we'll see what they get into.
They're a team that can compete, but I just don't know how high they can compete. That's the only problem with me.
Yeah, it's not a level of team that can be up there with these top teams in the West and in the East and in the NBA. So with Jaw, it'll be interesting to see how he fits in there, if he has desire to play and not tote the stick around, but they've got Damian Lillard. He loves Portland. We'll see what he can bring to the table for them. At 16, we have Charlotte Hornets.
My fault.
Trying to blow up the stream,
Yeah,
son.
that's my fault.
At 16, we got the Charlotte Hornets. Um, we talked about them a lot earlier too with the LaMelo deal, and there was value that they could have gotten that they just missed out on, I feel like. And yes, Khan is great. Yes, Brandon Miller's great, and they have chosen those two to be their building pieces, but I would have liked to see them make a move to elevate them instead of just kind of reset things and go from there.
Yeah, I think they're taking. I mean, LaMelo, I think is a player that you could have gotten more from. The T Wolves or even another team. I think that I do think it is an interesting decision. They're trying to level their foundation now and then build off of it. Where I truly believe that Miles Bridges was a hard player to get anything off of because
Yeah,
of his
that's a hard
past,
player to just have on your team.
his past history and stuff like that. I'm sure other uh teams were just playing his song in the conference room and 57 days, 57 nights. But I think that it's interesting in the fact like I said, I think Kobe White is a solid player. It's not who I think is going to be your end game player, but
It's either Brandon or Khan. Those are the
it's
guys.
somebody to sit down with and fill that role in the meantime while you're making steps towards building that championship roster. Because like this team was dominant after the All-Star break. Dominant.
They were
They were
blowing out some of the best teams in the league.
frying teams. They went on a streak where they were competing with the best teams in the league, and there's just so much to love about that team. Uh, for
Scrappy
the
guys, you throw in a dedicated player like Nas Reed in there, which I love Nas Reed as a player. I think if you trade LaMelo to the T-Wolves, you've got to get a guy like Nas Reed in the
yeah,
return, and they do.
yeah, Nasri is fun. That's gonna make a tough jersey. Nasri Charlotte
For
Hornets
Hornets
jersey.
fans, yep,
My
they're going to be
my
posted up this season.
Yep. But it's definitely exciting to see where they go from here.
So that'll cap off the first half of our rankings. We'll open at number 15 here with the Houston Rockets. Another team I feel like we've already just kind of seen the peak of what they can do with this roster. Feels like they're kind of stuck as well. One of my buddies who's a Rockets fan says that the KD trade just already hasn't worked out. They just feel like he ruins a chance of building with when they had Şengün elevating and Amen Thompson.
Yeah, I like what you said that I think the peak has you've already experienced the
We've
peak of
already
that
seen
team,
it.
and I don't think that it can get better with this team that it is already has. I think that with this team there's just
You
holes,
you do
massive
bring
holes.
Van Vliet in, which is a bona fide guard since he was injured all last season, which sure could raise the ceiling a little bit, but Van Vliet's not going to be a guy that gets you through more rounds of the playoffs. They went into the playoffs and just looked sunk immediately.
Yeah, and I just don't think I mean they had Reed Shepard who was playing well at the park point guard position. He was playing real scrappy. He was shooting efficiently. I just don't see where a Fred VanVleet can really elevate this team past a a like I told you, I really don't see the Rockets ever getting past seed 4 of the West.
I completely agree with that. At number 14, might catch some flack for last year's one seed in the East. It's the Detroit Pistons. And
Yeah,
go ahead.
The Pistons we were talked about with the Jalen Duren situation. Jalen Duren is just you don't want that to be your number two guy. Uh, they have a lot of young, scrappy, physical players, and I think that's really embodies Detroit. And then
And
these
I
like
love Cade Cunningham. He's
yeah,
he's elite.
a great player, outstanding player. I truly I just think that, it's time to either find a player to rotate with Jalen Duren because they got rid of Isaiah Stewart, somebody to rotate that's a
Yeah.
little bit more of a either maybe a veteran center. But I just don't see them doing a lot better. Like in a for them having such a dominant season last year to the playoff run that they had, and all the
It's
East
not a
teams are
good
getting
block to build
better.
off of.
I just see these other East teams that made moves in the right time to take themselves above the Detroit Pistons.
That's exactly what I was going to say is that the East around them is getting better after they had such a shocking season and they haven't done much. And it just feels like they're getting a bit overwhelmed in trying to be like, we were the one seed last year. We can be the one seed again. We just got to stand pat with our guys. But the rest of the East is bringing in these players who are going to decimate the caliber of players that the Pistons have. So, sure, they could definitely move up these power rankings with their quality of play, but it just feels like they're falling behind in an East that is getting better.
Yeah, I don't think they're getting worse. I just, like you said, falling behind.
Below them at number 13, we have the Los Angeles Lakers, who we touched on. Braun's leaving, but they get Austin Reeves back. They get Walker Kessler. They get Sandro. They got Colin Sexton. They got Quentin Grimes as well. And then they've got Luca to lead the show. But how good can this team be?
I think they can be uh they I just think they have the biggest margin of win-loss. I think they could be really good or I think they could be really poor. I think that they could range from a 7 to a 2 seed in the
They're going to
East.
have really good stretches and really bad
Because
stretches.
at the end of the day, I just don't. I love AR. I love Luca. I think they're outstanding players. I think it's just going to be interesting to see how Walker Kessler fits into the system. And I don't think we could truly predict where they're going to be at until that happens. But from what we've seen in the past with Luka's success as a leader, as the true player on their team, the team they've built is not the team that has helped him in the past.
The positive is obviously Luka is a top five player in this league and young and will be the guy that you can build around for the future. So if you're not competing this year, there is time to improve and build around him.
I mean, GTA 6 is about to come out, and Lucas still hasn't won a championship
He'll get one,
or an
maybe.
MVP.
When he comes to the Nuggets, he'll get one.
No
So
MVP.
at number 12, yeah,
MVP.
no MVP is still pretty crazy. And
Spurs.
it's just so hard right now to think anyone else could even get an MVP with what
Yeah.
Shea's doing. Maybe Brunson will get one. At number 12, the only team to win 2 games in the playoffs against the New York Knicks. It's the Atlanta Hawks, who I already love their draft class. I love their offseason getting Devin Carter, Aaron Wiggins, re-signing CJ McCollum. There's just a lot to look forward to as a Hawks fan for the first time in a while. Getting rid of Trae Young and resetting with a lot of high quality players, their ceiling is very high this season.
Yeah, I think that this is an exciting team to look at. They have such a young core, and they have some veterans sprinkled in there. But I think it is a team that you're excited about because they could develop into one of these scarier teams in the East. Uh, kind of following like the blueprint of a to beat a Knicks team. They prove themselves that they can compete with great caliber of players, and they just keep adding more and more assets to that team that could be very valuable for them.
I'm very high on them. I just think it'll be fun to kind of see what they can do in the East. I think it's maybe not a team that has the highest quality star like a Giannis or a Kawhi or Jalen Brunson or a Donovan Mitchell, but it's a team that is going to be scrappy and win games against those teams.
Mhm.
So below them, missing out on the top 10 is the Miami Heat at number 11 with Giannis. And we already talked about him a little bit, but it's just how's it all going to work out? And when you look at that depth, it's a disaster.
Exactly. It feels like you were mentioning the Heat kind of went all in for this, and in return, I mean, you can have the best of both worlds. They lost a lot of their depth for Giannis. And I think Giannis versus and a Bam front court is just going to be a little difficult to handle. Yes, they're two great players. Bam scored 83. Nobody can stop him. But I think it's going to be a difficult thing for Eric Spoelstra to figure out.
So on to our top 10, a team that I'm pretty high on. I think you're like just kind of mid on them, but I do think they can compete in the East because we already talked about them a little bit. It's the Toronto Raptors. We talked about it. They get the alpha in there, and now the sky's the limit to see what happens in Toronto this season.
Just exciting. You gotta be so excited as a Raptors fan to
Yes. Any
see
Raptors
this.
fan I know right now just had the best day ever when they
Oh my
found
gosh,
Kawhi was back on the team.
a 1A dude joining your team, and it's the guy who already won you an NBA championship. You could not be more excited. They have a nice young core built around him that can uh really improve their team. And like we said, they were already a defensive heavy team, and that was winning them games. And now they added one of the better defensive players in the league's history with that 3 and D archetype, and you're adding him to your team. It's just going to be absolutely huge for the team.
At number 9, a team that I wanted to have probably way higher than I should have, and you had to talk me out of it. It's the Indiana Pacers, which having them at 9 feels more right because, yes, there's question marks around this team. How's Halliburton going to come back? How's it going to look, like you said earlier, with their pace of play and bringing in Zubac, who is a great center, but how's he going to be able to run in the Pacers scheme. I love him. I love that he's going to be able to open up the floor for Halliburton alongside all these players who were already on the team for a team that almost won a championship. They get Kelly Oubre, a starter caliber player who will probably be come off the bench to help them. So just a lot of question marks, but I think they're a team that just can compete in the East.
Yeah, like you said, I think it's Kelly Oubre's, in my opinion, one of the greater role players in our
One of the
league right
best
now.
free agents on the market for
He
sure.
he just does his job and he does it well. And I truly believe that he's a great build and the fact that he's great on defense. He's not that much of a liability on that aspect. I think it's gonna free up players like Pascal Siakam and stuff like that. Uh like you said, biggest question mark is how's Tyrese gonna come back and how is Zubac going to fit in Rick Carlisle's extreme pace of play motion because Miles Turner, he was an athletic big and he also had a shot. So if he was dragging behind, he would stay on that top of the key and he would
Get the ball
100%.
kicked out and knock it down.
How is Zubac going to run 84 feet to the other paint? I just it's going to be interesting. I think if there's anybody to figure out, it is Rick Carlisle and the fact that he was absolutely genius with this Pacer system. I'm sure he can fill in a great center like Zubac.
It's just a team I'm very excited for. I think a lot of people in the league are excited to have Halliburton back. Maybe not you as a Knicks fan, you'll be a little worried about that, but I think a lot of people are excited to
Barbecue
the
chicken.
have the Pacers back after they basically just had to take a season off without
Yeah.
Tyrese. At number 8, the team that I think is going to land LeBron, and we talked about this while we were making the rankings. He seems like he's the best fit there. It's the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yeah. The Cleveland Cavaliers, in my opinion, is the best fit for LeBron. It's just, it seems like that is the perfect place to drop him at. They have every other piece that LeBron is looking for. They are really banking on this season. So I think they're really going to bank on adding a championship player, none other than LeBron James. I think that is going to be really exciting for the team. I think that after giving Donovan Mitchell that $68 million, I hopefully he doesn't just scam them.
I don't think he will. He's
But
such a
he's
consistent
a great
star.
player. He's a great player. Evan Mobley, Jarrett Allen they're a great front court in the fact they have size, they have length. Evan Mobley can shoot. It's exciting to see the Cavs really step in the right direction.
I think also it's just interesting to see if it goes crazy and LeBron does not end up on the Cavs. I think it's a team that is going to take a tumble down these rankings. I think they're banking on getting him because if they don't get LeBron and they're rocking out with the same team that just got smoked by the Knicks in the finals, they're not competing with these newly formed top teams in the East, I feel like. Sure, they have a lot of
Yeah.
talent, but
Yeah, it's just a team that on paper it's a great team, but they just don't mesh together well, and I don't think people have seen that
the Harden
anytime
addition,
soon.
like, sure, I feel like that's even an upgrade for Garland from them, from how he looked, but like, it's just a player that holds you back. And
Hmm.
so they are really banking on having LeBron to
Yeah.
compete this season. At 7, I feel like we're kind of maybe the Cavs are in here as well, and Pacers and Raptors, but we're going into some serious type contenders. We talked a lot about the T-Wolves already, but they're here at number 7. Anthony Edwards, a top 5 player in this league, in my opinion. Maybe that's a little high, but I would sit down and look at it. Um, they needed to get him another star. They have proven they can make Western Conference Finals runs, but I don't see them on the level of the Spurs or the Thunder. And I don't think LaMelo fits what they value over there in Minnesota.
Yeah, I see Minnesota as kind of like I don't know. They don't really play flashy. I mean, Anthony Edwards kind of like he's a flashier player with his athleticism, but like it's definitely like they play the same ball every time, and I feel like they're great at that, and that's why they have had success in the past.
Yeah.
I just think the addition of LaMelo is just going to be funny. I think it's going to be so funny for the league. I think it's going to increase views and stuff like that because that duo of Anthony Edwards and
From the
LaMelo is going to
same
be so
draft.
goofy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
LaMelo, it'll be interesting to see, like I said while we were making these rankings, their offense is going to skyrocket. Rudy Gobert pick and roll is already great with Ant. It's going to be even better with LaMelo Ball, having Ant move around and being able to find him. So their offense is going to take a huge leap. But I just feel like what they've been committed to, which is why they've been a top team in the West, is kind of going out the window. They got rid of a longtime guy, Naz Reid, who came up there and loved that team, and he was gonna be the starting power forward for them because they shipped off Julius Randle. And then they show to their fans, they're like, we're trying to keep Anthony Edwards, we're shipping him off, we're getting LaMelo Ball. So I feel like there's some question marks with them, but obviously they're gonna be a top team with Ant and LaMelo and Jaden McDaniels, Gobert, and their defensive minded guys. So number 6, Philadelphia 76ers. We already talked about them with the Jaylen Brown move and free agency. Still in the running for LeBron. I don't think he's gonna go there. It would be unreal to see, but it's a team that could really compete in the East.
Yeah, I think if they sign LeBron, it kind of ruins the there's just too many players to feed on that team.
Yeah,
I think they're
I
kind
agree.
of exceeding it already. That's why we have them a little lower than some people might have them. It's just a big injury concern with the Joel and other players. It's just I think they've made the right moves and I think it could work. It's just sitting here and waiting for that.
At number 5, a team I wanted to have lower that you still have a lot of confidence in, so I'll give you the floor to talk even more about them, even though we covered them a lot. It's the Boston Celtics. We already talked about Mitchell Robinson going over there, how much belief you have in Jason Tatum. But for me, I think it's just a huge season for Peyton Pritchard and Derek White. Derek White had a bad last season comparatively when he had been so big for them in their championship year. So now for those two, it's really on them to step up next to Paul George and Jason Tatum and keep this team as a top team in the league.
And I think that, like you said, that's the biggest factor and to see how this Boston Celtics team performs. I mean, Derek White almost dropped a solid 8% from three, which is for a player that you're relying on to get that three and get those points. It's piss
It
poor.
hurts.
It hurts a whole lot. And I do think that these players could step up and it could make Celtics a scary team. Who knows? I could be crazy, but I just think that they have a system figured out there in Boston and it's working no matter what players are on the team. So I think they're still a great team.
Like you said, they already did it one time. People were picking this team to miss the play-in when Tatum got injured, and they were the 2 seed in the East.
Yeah.
And there's something to say there about coaching and about the quality of depth you have on that team. And I'm seeing it more and more now as you talk about it. Tatum can just plug into that role that Jaylen Brown had. And they were the 2 seed with Jaylen Brown, they can be the 2 seed with Jason Tatum.
Yeah.
So at number 4, it's a team you had to talk me into moving up, but we had a good conversation, and I said you had to help me defend this because I don't want to be biased. But it's the Denver Nuggets at 4. And yes, we haven't made a lot of moves in free agency. We still have Nikola Jokic. We still have our core. Our starting five is still elite if Christian Brown can figure things out. Peyton Watson, there's still his situation up in the air, but it's a team that when you look at them and they're playing their best ball and they're healthy, when Aaron Gordon is healthy, that is better than all the teams below them on this list.
Yeah, I'll speak on it so you don't sound like you're glazing. But I think that, with a league that some people are saying, oh, this is the craziest free agency ever and stuff like that. With a league of a lot of moving pieces, the Nuggets have stayed sound, and I think they have their players, and I think they have the right players. They know it works. I think that Nikola Jokic is the best player in the league, in my opinion. I think there's nobody in the league that's better than him. He is an outstanding player. I don't see a reality where they're not at least top three in the Western Conference. So I think that there's a lot of hope for this season. I think they could drop? Potentially, definitely. But I think that they could still have a great season this year.
I just feel like obviously we made a lot of changes last year when we shipped off MPJ. We never got to see the team healthy this year.
Exactly.
Jokic injury, Christian Brown injury, Aaron Gordon injury, Cam Johnson injury, and then Aaron Gordon was injured again for the playoffs, alongside Peyton Watson, two of our best defenders who really would have helped in that T-Wolves series.
Mhm.
So when we went into this offseason, I thought the only way forward was to just debate if we re-sign Peyton Watson or not. And it looks like we're leaning to do that and then just run it back and hope for health. That's all you can do. Sure, it still feels like we're not on the level of the three teams ahead of us in this power rankings, but we're still a competitor as long as you have Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray.
Yeah, 100% agree.
At our top three, we were consensus same on these three with a little bit of debate between the two and the three spot. But at three, we have the Oklahoma City Thunder, who are my pick to win the championship this upcoming season. They have shipped off a lot of these little contracts, Aaron Wiggins, Isaiah Joe, all that to bring down that total team value a little bit. They've got Hartenstein back. They got 7'3" a Damar from the draft. Just feels like in the draft, things continue to just fall their way. They got Bennett Sturts as well. Shea's killing it for Canada right now after he cut his hair. Lou Dort most likely going to be back. And it just feels like they're in such a great spot. Their bench can just be rinsed out every year. When these contracts get too high, ship them out, draft some new guys, develop them because the development there is so good.
Yeah, I think I was looking because I was curious how because the biggest thing was is that they were such a young roster that had so many people on rookie contracts, such small contracts. They're currently $100,000 below the second apron. And I just think they're kind of getting to that point where like they're at super team-esque and they're having to play their players. They did have to lose some players this year, but I mean, they're maintaining their core, their roster.
They've already got their main three set, no matter what
And
happens.
they're just killer on the draft. I think their draft was a great draft. Honestly, definitely underrated. I think
Every
some
year it feels like it. It feels like they're going to draft a player and he's going to turn into a 15
yeah, it's
points
just
per
like
game
it's
guy.
yeah,
They're
exactly. It's
going to
just a
trade for a player. He's going to be a
PTSD.
15 points per game guy. They're going to pick up a guy from the G League and he's going to turn into a 15 points per game player.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just really hard to see the Thunder falling off anytime soon. And when you have Shea, who is a top three player in this league, they're gonna be a competitor for the championship.
100%.
Above them, because they beat them and their future is just so bright, is the San Antonio Spurs. They already addressed their biggest need that made them lose to the Knicks in the draft. They got two 6'11" forwards who dominate the boards and dominate the paint to go next to Wemby instead of it just being Wemby and some guards and some little forwards. They've got more size next to him now to help him out. And Dylan Harper's just going to keep getting better. Stephon Castle's just going to keep getting better. And Wemby, people were saying in the playoffs he's the best player in the world. I don't think so. Is he top five? 100%.
Yeah, I just think that, with like you said, they're filling in what they were missing and it's scary. And they're also people forget like Dylan Harper wasn't the player he was during the regular season that he was in the playoffs. He took a massive jump during the playoffs, and I think during the regular season, if this continues,
Yeah,
they
build
are
off
going to be
that.
such a hard team to beat because they just have young guys who can take the 82 games and can really perform well night to night.
I just loved what they got done in the draft with Terrace Reed and then I'm blanking on his name, but dude out of Houston. It's guys that are going to go in there and just help. Or no, no, not dude out of Houston. Jaden Quaintance from Kentucky. It's two big guys whoa, that are going to go next to Wemby and just sure up the paint instead of it just being Wemby fouling out and struggling against so many quality players that the Knicks had, which brings us into our number one team. There's really no debate. It's the New York Knicks. Um, I wasn't sold on it all season long until I really started watching them in the playoffs, and you would just second my opinion. The quality of basketball they play is just so refreshing. It really is just great basketball led by Jalen Brunson. Karl Anthony Towns was one of the better players in the league with the T-Wolves, came over to the Knicks, wanted to still be that guy, realized if I want to win a championship, I need to make the whole team better instead of going by myself.
Yeah, what I love, and tooting my own horn, but like the thing about the Knicks is, like you said, it's refreshing. They save basketball. Just gonna say it. They saved us from the
Aaron
evil
Wiggins
shade,
saved basketball, but
bro. They saved us. They saved us from the evil OKC Thunder. Uh, I just think that what I love about this team and this core is that the chemistry is so strong, and the fact that
they
Mike Brown
all want to be
sat
there.
down and was able to take players, put them in bigger roles, decrease the other one. Like during the during the Cavs game or the Atlanta game, Cat started taking a more prominent role. He was the main, and the offense ran through
In that
him,
series, yeah.
and they ended up winning by a record amount of points. It's just like these players are able to take down their like that NBA desire of being that guy, and on
They care more
any
about the
given
team.
night, exactly, these
And that
players
was
just
already
keep,
proven before this season with Brunson
yeah,
taking his pay cut.
exactly,
He wants to win. Macau wants to win. Josh Hart wants to win. OG Anunoby really wants to win because of
yeah,
how he dialed it in the finals. But
yeah.
it is just a team that people wrote off watching this battle in the West. And everyone else is sitting over here watching the East, watching them dominate. And it's still the top team in the East. And it's going to be exciting to see what they do trying to go back to back in a league that's so hard to go back to back. Any final words on the Knicks?
No, that's it. I'll stop glazing.
Just greatness, just greatness. So that's going to about wrap it up for this first episode of the StatPad podcast. Felt good to get things rolling here. I think it
Yep.
was a good, solid first episode. Going to be revisiting a lot of the same things because it's the off season, but definitely covering all the big news, summer league, and going into some more certain games, players, debates on some past stuff. Again, follow the socials. We're on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at the StatPad Pod. We're gonna be posting stuff, clips from here, other things all up on there. Anything you wanted to say, Milo?
Uh, no, not really.
So
Not
that'll
really.
bring us in to our final segment. This is going to be an every week thing. It's called Milo's Minute. Milo is going to end the podcast every week with 1 minute of whatever he wants to say. It could be singing a song to Quincy Acey, building a shrine to Jalen Brunson, raging at Andrew Wiggins. I don't know why he popped into my head, but we'll go out on him every week, saying something outrageous or saying something nice about his
Yeah,
co-host. I don't know. But let me get this timer up real
likely story,
quick.
bro. All right.
Set this thing to a minute real quick, 60 seconds, and we're rolling.
Okay. Well, during the podcast, I didn't want to say it because I wanted to save it for this moment, but Slam just released their new cover. Can you guess who's on it?
Brunson doesn't feel like a slam cover guy,
I'll
but is
give
it
you a
Brunson?
hint. The headline says "Say Less."
Dude, I'm blanking.
I don't know if you can see that, but
It's not, it's too blurry.
it's OG Anunoby.
Oh,
He
don't
is
worry, that
on
image
the
will go
Slam
up.
cover. OG
Words
Anunoby's on
words
it.
to say on your glorious king in these
My
last 20
Glorious King,
seconds.
the tip of OG. It was
I'll make sure to
absolutely
put that
amazing.
sun image up.
Please, yes, sun image right up here. I need it right there. My glorious OG Anunoby. I love
Hey,
you
eight
so much.
seconds.
And he's the best 3D player in the league. I fully believe that he has such great percentages from the corner. I can't wait to see him again. OG, please.
All right, that's gonna do it for episode one of the StatPad podcast. I'm Caleb Hickman, alongside my co-host Milo Horton. We'll be back at it next week. Thanks for watching, y'all. Have a good one.
See y'all.